We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. There was a nation living in peace and unity. Yeah. They are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise up to its purity. With another people of different culture, a dear heritage, biased and oppressive. Oh, I see. A nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna praise us. Rather, you all gonna embrace her. With your flag, with your flag, with your flag, with your flag. Oh, yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home. I
reminisce way back 1967. Death toll and the blood couldn't count them even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops on the ground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why? Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom. They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain? Suka had the first taste of a hero's blood. Abagana Zobuni wave was stronger than flood, but the juke is too strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. So bloody name, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my veins. We died trying to fight the cause and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa. Welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world. See those people of Zion is here.
It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. I see the rising sun from Africa. Oh, this is time of victory. Oh, yeah. I see future in Africa. Oh yeah, people of Biafra. See light shining on the world. Oh yeah.
What's that, marathon? We're not fighting each other. We know where we're going. We're going to get Biafra. There is nothing anybody can do about it. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. I need them to understand this. We've crossed the Rubicon, the point of no return. There is nothing anybody can do. If I'm alive, if I'm dead, if I'm wherever I may be, Biafra will come. If I'm dead, it's even better because it will come far more quicker. I can assure you. If Biafra is fighting for you, no one will touch your property. If you're fighting alone, you're bound to lose it. So Biafra is the best. We will become the 16th member country of ECOWAS. If Nigeria doesn't release those properties, then we'll take them to court and we'll get them back, even twice the value. The Jews had investments all over the world. Most of the priceless artifacts and paintings belong to many families in Germany. It was stolen by the Nazi Party. Do you know that? Eventually they got everything back with compensation on top of it. That's what we're going to do. Because our investments will come back to you. And we'll know where we can get it from. So there is nothing for anyone to worry about. It's only if I'm not stopping you from being a Nigerian, if you are born on the streets of Lagos and you want to be a Lagosian and your name is Adama, oh well and good. There's no problem.
Did we?
Oh yes, anyị wee na-efe arụsị iwe were iwe gị na ọmụma gị wee bịa leta anyị ụmụ anyị wee na-anwụsị ụfọdụ nọ n'ụzọ ije ha anaghị alọta ụlọ ọzọ nne na nna wee na-ata ahụhụ wee na-ata ikikere eze nwaanyị kunye ka ọ gaa ubi gaa rụọ ọrụ Fulani chiri ehi bata ebe ala gị nne n'iyi okwu ebepụ ya isi anyị pụta anyị kpọpụ onye nwe anyị n'ugwu Awụsa ahụ ejide anyị wee gbuo ihe ọbụla anyị mara aka n'ime ha si maka ha gaa n'ihu elekwa ọdụ ụgbọ mmiri n'igwe ọcha bụ ememiri ọya nke dị na Kalaba otu aka ahụ anyị na-ala nsọ ebe Biafra bụ ndị kọstọm sokwenye anyị n'etiti anyị anọghị n'ime mmiri kama kọstọm juru ebe niile ha wee na-ata anyị ahụhụ anyị kwe sịpụta anyị ka kpọchie anyị kwe sịpụta anyị ka gbagbuo anyị onye nwe anyị na Chineke na nke bi n'igwe ọ bụ ụzọ dị agha ka isi na-ekwu ndị iro anyị n'anya wee karịa ndị nke gị akwa anyị bụ ụmụ Chineke akwa ọba aha anyị ka anyị na-aza akwa ọba anyị nwe na-aza ike Chukwu akwa ọba anyị nwe na-aza amara Chineke akwa ọba anyị nwe na-aza Chisom akwa ọba anyị nwe na-aza Chizoba nna nke dị nsọ onye ime eluigwe dịka otu onye iro dị na nyebe ụmụ gị bịa ka iwe zọpụta anyị bịa ka iwe napụta anyị n'aka ọjọọ ihe bịa ka iwe lụọrọ anyị ọgụ bịa ka iwe dịtụ ozu ọgụgụwa mgbe emilere Goliat Chineke nna nke igwe ruo ememiri Fero sikwa otu a mee ka Fero ka ọ guzo n'ihu ụmụ ndị anyị ga-ebite owe eto akọkọ igiri ụtọ ọzọ ị ga na-edu anyị n'ụzọ niile nke ezi omume ọ bụla adịghị na anyị na-aga ndagwurugwu onyinye ọnwụ ọ bụ nwa bụ ekele n'igwe n'ụwa nwunye ọbụla kere gị n'oge malite n'oge ọgwụgwụ kama anyị onwe anyị gwa anọkwa ahụ ofu ụbọchị anyị ga-anwụ n'ezie kama ma akọ na okwu gị na-anọgide ego mgbe ebighị ebi ọ bụ ya mere anyị ji were gị n'anya isi anyị wee na-asị nna nke dị nsọ bịa ka iwe gosi anyị Biafra na ndụ m abụghị n'ọnwụ bịa ka iwe na-ekebe gị na amara gị wee kpuchiri anyị ka uwe bịa ka iwe zọpụta ndị nke gị bịa ka iwe mee ka Biafra wee bịa ka anyị na-ewetụta na nsọpụrụ na ịja mma site na aha gị ma ibu Chukwu abịa ma
Welcome. Thank you for joining us on this very important program. I appreciate everyone that have joined. Please like and share the program on your platform. Share to family and friends. Share the program to everyone that is close to you. Invite somebody to join us on this very program. You know, our evening program is always a review section where we review the things that are happening in all angles, in all corners, things that concerns us. We make a review of them. To also go on the conventional media to review what is going on. A whole lot is going on, and we will not give up. We will never give up. Don't give up wherever you are. Don't give up. Every one of us, we must continue to do everything we can to see that our voice is heard. Continue to do everything we can to see that we are properly represented. The situation in the Zoological Republic is a terrible one. It's not something that anybody can be able to run away from. And the end of Nigeria we talk about has actually come. So people can continue to pretend that all is well, but I must tell you that all is not well. the situation is going to get worse. As I have always said, the only important project we have is to pursue the freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the freedom of Mazi Simon Ekpa. If they are free, it will be easy for us to engage in this battle. But as long as they remain in detention, it will be much more difficult than you can ever imagine. The freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon Ekpa will guarantee our recognition. It will guarantee unity among us. It will also guarantee full restoration of Biafra. That is why you must support the freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the freedom of Mazi Simon Ekpa the best way you can. It doesn't matter what anybody is saying. It doesn't matter the propaganda and blackmail they are pushing right, left, and center. We must continue to advocate for the freedom, more especially Mazi Simon Ekpa, because the case of Mazi Simon Ekpa is going to be a game changer. It is going to be a game changer, even to the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Every one of you know that it was after Mazi Simon Ekpa was convicted, that was when they were able to begin to talk about the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Because they used that case of Mazi Simon Ekpa as a precedent to sentence Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So we must do everything possible to see that Mazi Simon Ekpa is properly represented. We must do everything to see that he's freed, because his freedom will go a long way to guarantee a lot of things for us. No matter what happens, no matter what you see, no matter the attack, propaganda, and blackmail that is coming right, left, and center, don't you ever give up. Be focused and continue to stand firm. We shall overcome by the special grace of Chukwu Kabiam. We will definitely overcome the challenges. You're welcome, my beloved sister, Messi Akere. Thank you so much. Onyeka, thank you so much for joining me. Onyeka, Chris, I appreciate you. So as many as have joined us on this evening, our evening program is not a full program. It's just a recap of what is happening and what is going on. It is much more painful that now the zoo is preparing for their so-called, what do they call it, so-called election. And while they are preparing the election, nobody is confronting them. They are doing it boldly. And when you see the boldness at which they operate, you know that they are just happy and they know that nobody's going to challenge them. That is why they are doing everything they are doing without mind. They don't care. They don't care. That is why I tell you that the freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon Ekpa will go a long way to change the narrative. It doesn't matter whether you agree or you don't agree. Whichever group where you are, if you care about the freedom of Biafran people, you must support the freedom of Mazi Simon Ekpa now. Support the freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because this is an opportunity that we might not even have again. We might not have this opportunity again. With everything that is happening now, if we lose this opportunity, we might never ever have it again. That is why, while we still have time, we need to fight. We need to fight as much as we can while we still have the time. Continue to put every effort to make sure that our voice is being heard. No matter the distractions you are seeing, no matter the obstacles that are coming from right, left, and center, no matter all the blackmail and propaganda that is coming from the enemies, coming from inside and outside, we must always remember that we have a responsibility, and that responsibility is to make sure that the restoration of Biafra becomes a reality. We must make sure that it's a reality. Don't you ever walk away from that responsibility. Don't you ever, no matter the challenges. Sometimes we see a lot of things that make us say, oh, we will not be part of this again. Oh, we are not interested in it again. Oh, we cannot do it again. But please, no matter how difficult it is, exercise patience. I can understand. The same way you feel, sometimes I feel the same way. But even When I feel that way, I still believe that there is no other way. There's nothing we can do than to continue to fight for our freedom. There's no shortcut to be free. There's no shortcut. We must continue in this battle. We must, whether good or bad, whether the enemy like it or not. No matter how the challenges might be, there is only one way for us to be free, to fight and set ourselves free from this zoological republic. You can see what is happening in Nigeria today. The terrorists are in charge completely. The attack is increasing. Now they are decimating Nigerian military. Nigerian military cannot even stand. They can't even stand what is coming. They can't stand it. They have lost all hope. They have lost all hope. They can't stand. So the earlier we rise up and do what we have to do and forget about all the bickering and all the distractions and focus on what we can do to see that our leaders are free, that is the most important thing that should be on the table. Anything you know you can do it now while we still have time, because tomorrow might be too late. Whatever you know that is at your reach you can do it now. Tomorrow might just be too late. So, my brothers and sisters, wherever you are, tighten up your belt. I understand it is not easy. This is not an easy task. It's a very heavy task. And our leaders are already paying the ultimate sacrifice for us. As they are paying that heavy sacrifice, we also must have to try as much as possible to stand firm. Don't give up. Don't lose your faith. I know they are doing everything to distract us, to discourage us. There are so many discouragements every day. But yet, if we continue to be consistent and persistent, we shall overcome. Is Biafra going to come? I strongly believe that it's going to come. Is it going to be easy? It will not be easy. Even with all we are doing, you see the way they are taking over our land. You see the kind of attack they are bringing. Today, it has become much more dangerous that they have recruited Biafrans. It is Biafrans today that are fighting the fight for them, not even the Janjaweed. Biafrans are the ones fighting themselves. That is how dangerous and how bad it is. Biafran people fighting themselves, fighting each other. Why the Janjaweed sit back and they watch, they laugh. We are fighting each other. That is how they look at how the Nigerian government have even bought a station, VOP. Give Lolo Nega. Lolo Nega is going there to attack Mazen Nandekam every time, every week, once in a week, sometimes twice. Getting all the DOS today are coming openly to attack Mazen Nandekam, not longer the secret. Formerly they do it in secret, but this day it is no longer secret. The DOS is carrying the attack. Openly now, they do the attack openly against Mazen Nandekam. And some of you think it's a joke. It is not a joke. Wherever you are, you must tighten up your belt. Every one of us must tighten up their belt. The attack is going to increase. The same attack is coming to those of us who are broadcasting. The attack is coming to us also. They attack my platform. My platforms, they attack it, they hijack it, they try to hack my account and everything. So many threats we are getting. You can't even believe what we are facing, those of us who are still speaking up. So that is how dangerous it is. Most of my accounts have been attacked. Even my platforms, they shadow ban my platform so that you cannot see it. But they promote those ones they know that they are working for them. Something like that law on NECA. So many other people they have paid. The DOS have employed so many media networks today. Anyone you go there, their topic is Mazen Nandekam. Their topic is attacking Mazen Nandekam. In a time where we are talking about how to take back our land. In a time when we know, as they are planning to conduct the election, our own problem now should have been how to make sure we stop election from happening in Biafra land. How to retrieve our land, how to make sure that the United States of America looks into our case now that the US have put their satellite to Nigeria. What we are supposed to be doing is how to drag the attention of the United States completely. But what are people doing? Nobody cares. Nobody is focusing on that. Instead, they are focusing on attacking Mazen Nandekan, Mazen Samaneba every day. Every day, Lord on neck online is Mazen Nandekan. You attack his family, attack the lawyers, attack Mazen Samaneba, attack everybody. And you promote IPOB in Nigeria. You are in Nigeria promoting IPOB in Nigeria, a proscribed group. The same IPOB they say they proscribe. Somebody is in Nigeria promoting it and nobody is saying anything. Nobody does anything to them. On the national TV, promoting it, discussing how they are going to organize it, who is going to rule and who is going to do this. In Nigeria, there, she's organizing everything about IPOB and nobody's talking to her. Is that not a red flag? That is a red flag. That's how to know the people that are sponsored by the government. Everybody that's sponsored by the government, when they are doing anything, the government will turn a blind eye, pretend as if they're not seeing him. Somebody like Very Dark Man. You see Very Dark Man that some of you see as activity. You see he has been exposed today. He has been exposed. Everything he does, government will turn a blind eye as if he's untouchable because they are the ones sponsoring him. Because they are working together. That is the same thing Lord Neka is doing in the Southeast today. When she started the campaign and challenging military, challenge this one, talk this one, she talked, nobody mind her, nobody call her. She had never been invited by police one day. And you think it's ordinary. It is because they sent her for a mission. And she is doing exactly what they want her to do. That is why today she has finally come open to begin to attack the struggle. She's no longer hiding her attack. She's no longer hiding it. She is now attacking openly the restoration of Biafra. Everybody that supports Mazen Nandekan is her enemy. If you support Mazen Samanaba, you are her enemy. And she will end up and tell you, well, let's come together and see how to build IPOB. You want to build a proscribed group, something that the Nigerian government has prescribed. You are advertising to build it in Nigeria, and they don't talk to you. They did not arrest you. I pray that our people will wake up and understand and focus on what matters. We need Mazen Nandekan and Mazen Samaneba more than ever. We must make sure that they are properly represented, more especially Mazen Samaneba. August 5th, he must get a proper representation. So anywhere you are, support the legal preparation for Mazen Samaneba. Support the legal, financially, prayerfully, any way you can, so more especially financially. Support it, go to the link and make your contribution support. Whichever group you are. If you have your own group and there is a plan you're making, tell your group to tell you the plan. Let them tell you, not on background work. Ask your own group. That your group, ask them, what are you doing to see that Mazen Samaneba is properly represented? Ask your group. Every one of us that love Mazen Samaneba, we preach Mazen Samaneba, we are ask your group, that group you belong. Those of you that belong in one group or the other, ask them. Ask them in their meeting, what are they doing to make sure that Mazen Samaneba is properly represented? He has sacrificed a lot, put his life on the line, put his life in danger because of you and I. We must not leave him alone. We must not disappoint him. So, my fellow Biafrans, wherever you are, continue to stand firm, continue to stand strong. Nigeria has ended, and the only alternative to Nigeria is a referendum. We have already conducted our own self-referendum. So, if they don't want the self-referendum, they should come and conduct their own. It's either they endorse our self-referendum, acknowledge it, or they conduct theirs. The reason Mazen Samaneba conducted it is for them to be awakened and know that it is not a joke, that truly, Biafrans are ready to go home. Because when we continue to say it, Biafrans want to go, and there is no figure, there is no fact, there is no document to show them, they won't believe. But we have been able to produce documents that show that the Biafrans are willing to go. So if they don't want to endorse it, they should conduct their own referendum and let Biafrans go. It is long overdue. Long overdue. With what is happening in Nigeria today, there is no remedy. Anybody that thinks there is something you can do to remedy Nigeria, you are a joker. you are a complete joker. That is why I urge every one of you, wherever you can, stand strong, continue to push the little way you can, even if it is one person, two people you can convince. Share this program, share to your family and friends, share to your friends and neighbors. Even if it is one person you can reach out to one person or two. It is important. Even if it is one person standing, Biafra has a future. Because Nigeria is gone and gone for good. Go to their news. We will go to their news now. When we go to their news, you will see what is happening in Nigeria. It is terrorism everywhere, right, left, and center. Everywhere is being terrorized. There is no way out. We have to seize this opportunity now that the world is looking onto Nigeria. With the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern, we know that the Iran war is distracting Donald Trump. The Iran war is a distraction. We know that. But in as much as that distraction is that, we will not lose our focus. We will not lose our focus. We will never, ever lose our focus, no matter what happens. I pray that Chukwu Okabiam will guide us, give us that wisdom and knowledge to do what we are supposed to do, no matter how difficult it is. I pray that Chukwu Okabiam will strengthen us to overcome these challenges. I want us to go to their media, look into some of the updates that they have. Then after looking into those updates, we will come back and then we will do the needful for the day. Let's watch and see what they have on their media for you to confirm that Nigeria is failed state. Because for us to confirm it, we need to go down deep into their midst to confirm that Nigeria is a failed state. Failed state that will never, ever, 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 ever survive. No matter how they try to pretend, it will never survive.
Iranian shipments. Now, US Vice President J.D. Vance has accused Iran of economic terrorism over the blockade, and regarding a deal to formally end the war, Vance says that the United States has put a lot on the table and that the ball is in Iran's court. Let's take a listen.
Further conversations, whether we ultimately get to a deal, I really think the ball is in the Iranian court because we put a lot on the table. We came to the negotiations saying the United States, what we've given here is a ceasefire. We've stopped bombing the country. What we expect the Iranians to give up is a full reopening of the Straits of Hormuz. We have seen, as the president has said, some significant uptick in traffic coming through the Straits of Hormuz. That's good for the global economy.
Now, diplomatic efforts to revive US-Iran talks are continuing, with Pakistan offering to host a second round of negotiations in Islamabad this week. There's also reports of Geneva perhaps being a host. Now, the US blockade of Iran's port is in effect, but US President Donald Trump says Iranian officials have called and they do want to work on a deal. Now, we are also seeing reports that a Chinese tanker sanctioned by Washington has passed through the Strait of Hormuz despite this US blockade on the waterway. Now, moving on, meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has drawn criticism for posting and deleting this artificial intelligence generated image of him depicted as Jesus healing a sick man. Now, he was asked about the image when he addressed journalists at the White House. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Well, it wasn't a vision. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which was support, and only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, "How did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better. As an example." The 11,000, I'm saying your husband's going through treatment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's going through some very serious cancer treatment, so
Yes,
this
sir.
goes a long way.
Yes, sir. It sure does.
Mr. President, are another round of talks planned?
He says he's been depicted as a doctor, not a Jesus. Well, Pope Leo XIV, who is still in Nigeria, it's the first stop on his 10-day tour of Africa, has responded to Trump's criticism, saying that he will continue to denounce war and insist the Christian message rooted in the primacy of peace is being abused. Let's take a listen.
The
continue to speak out loud against war, looking to promote peace, promoting dialogue and multilateral relationships among the states, look for just solutions to the problems. Too many people are suffering in the world today. Too many innocent people are being killed. And I think someone has to stand up and say, there's a better way to do this.
Now, this is all very interesting because the vast majority of Catholics voted for Trump's re-election in 2024. So there may be some discomfort to Trump's response. Now, Trump says the Pope is weak over his stance on the Iran war. And when he was asked if he would apologize for his criticism of the leader of the Catholic Church, this is what Trump had to say.
Said things that are wrong. He was very much against what I'm doing with regard to Iran, and you could not have a nuclear Iran. Pope Leo would not be happy with the end result. You have hundreds of millions of people dead, and it's not going to happen. So I can't. I think he's very weak on crime and other things. So I'm not. I mean, he went public. I'm just responding to Pope Leo, and his brother is a big MAGA person, and he's a great guy, Louis. And I said I like Louis better than I like the Pope.
Moving on, because Lebanon and Israel, the envoys, they are due to meet in Washington, D.C. later today at 11 a.m. local time. That's 3 p.m. GMT and 4 p.m. here in Nigeria. Now, the Lebanese government has described it as a preliminary meeting, and Israel's bombardment and retaliatory attacks do continue in the background. That being said, we do know that U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will join these talks happening today in Washington, D.C. Meanwhile, Hezbollah has called for a cancellation of those peace talks with Israel. Let's move on now to Australia, because Prince Harry and his wife Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, arrived in Melbourne on Tuesday for their first Australian visit since their official royal tour back in 2018. Now, the lower key 4-day Australian visit comes after the couple announced in 2020 that they plan to step back as senior royals and to become financially independent in their Californian base. That being said, the Sussex described their visit as privately funded, and they flew to Melbourne business class from Los Angeles on a commercial Qantas Airways flight. But there have been public complaints about the added security costs for police agencies as the couple visits Melbourne, Canberra, and also Sydney. Now, the couple, as we said, no longer working royals, will meet patients and medics at a children's hospital, military veterans and their families, and survivors of family violence during their stay. And their schedule also reflects the commercial aspects of the trip, with Prince Harry due to give a keynote speech at a summit where tickets cost up to $1,700 per person. Meghan will hold an in-person conversation at a women's-only girls' weekend in Sydney, hosted by the producers of her Best Life podcast. Well, we'll take some comments from our lovely anchors in a moment, but let's first take a look at our front page of our newspapers. As ever, we begin with the front page of this day, and this day does report that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has met with service chiefs over this rising insecurity issue following the controversial Borno airstrike, as the presidency and Chukwu Burutai defended the operation as a legitimate strike on a terrorist hub. This is while Ahmed Lawan did call for an independent investigation. Now, this day also reports that the Supreme Court of Nigeria has overturned a Court of Appeal ruling in this $1.3 billion dispute involving Nestoil and Nekonde, declaring it unconstitutional for a receiver appointed by a plaintiff to determine the defendant's legal representation, as it violates the right to a fair hearing. And staying on the theme of legals and the law, we do have, of course, The Advocate, which is the weekly insert into this day by Onikepo Braithwaite. And this week, Onikepo Braithwaite reports that Nigeria's 2027 political space is being dominated by what she calls recycled leaders, and she's urging voters to focus on track records over party labels, while also calling for stronger electoral laws and sanctions against frivolous litigation. Let's take a look at the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust this morning is reporting that the ADC, the African Democratic Congress, is proceeding with its national convention today, and that's despite leadership disputes and legal battles. That's even as INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, maintains its stance and the Supreme Court ruling is awaited. We've got the Punch up next, and just up here you can see that the Ogun State government, led by the governor, Prince Dakwa Abiodun, and other APC leaders have endorsed Solomon Adiola, also known as Yayi, as the party's consensus candidate for the 2027 gubernatorial election in Ogun State, signaling early succession moves. Next up, we do have the New Telegraph this morning, and it is reporting that a commanding officer and 6 soldiers were killed after troops of Operation Hadinkai repelled this terrorist attack in Monguno, Borno State, with the casualties occurring after their vehicle hit an improvised explosive device. We do have the Daily Independent up next, and it is reporting that at least 11 people were feared dead in attacks by suspected herdsmen over in Benue State, with others injured and missing, while a mobile policeman was also killed in a separate incident, also in that state. Now, we do have The Guardian this morning, and it is this story just here that we are taking, and it does report that the parents of the abducted Chibok schoolgirls have renewed calls for global action. They are noting that 87 girls remain missing 12 years later as concerns grow over declining attention to insecurity and girls' education. We do have the Daily Telegraph of the United Kingdom as we bring in our UK papers. Again, this AI-generated image of Donald Trump features on the front page, which was later, of course, deleted, depicting him as Jesus Christ amid a row with Pope Leo XIV. We do have a double whammy up next. We've got the Daily Mail and also the Sun, both.
Welcome back and good to have you joining us from Bio. Nigeria's military has been dealt another devastating blow as Boko Haram insurgents launched a deadly raid on the military base of the state, leading commanding officer Colonel Ebo Lawal alongside aggressive soldiers, with support suggested pilots may be higher. The Nigerian army confirmed the attack, describing it as a fierce and counter-against troops, but valiantly will be defeated. Just last week, the defense headquarters had confirmed the deaths of several soldiers in another terrorist assault in the same region, and was empowering the relentless pressure on security forces by every insurgency in the northeast. The violence is not confined to Borno. In Zamfara State, fresh waves of terror attacks have been certified with armed groups raiding communities, burning homes, and abducting villagers, sparking widespread fear and displacement. But security experts warn that the simultaneous escalation in the northeast and the northwest signals dangerous expansion of insurgent and bandit activity threatening national security. What we have in this studio here in Lagos, where we are broadcasting from, without much make sense of this development, this very sad development, this breakfast issue that makes the political and public affairs analyst. Besides him, we also have Mr. Elvis. Elvis is a political and public affairs analyst, and from our within our station, we've been joined by Mr. Frank Joseph. Frank is also a political and public affairs analyst, gentleman, thanks for joining us on the video. We appreciate your presence. Good morning. Good morning. All right, great. Now, Prince Francis Shilaka, let me start with you. That's 16 officers killed by terrorists in the last 10 years. When we see a situation where terrorists, most men stay, soft targets, marketplaces, schools and all of that, link those things and now get into it. Now, and don't heal our food. Where are we headed?
I think it was about 2 weeks ago when the chief of army, if I'm correct, came out and said that bandits, chief of defense, the bandits, whatever name you want to call it, enlightened them to put it down and so on.
And our brothers.
No, I don't want to talk about our brothers because they are not our brothers.
He
likened them to put it down child. But then he forgot that there's something about the prodigal child. The prodigal child took what was his inheritance, his own share of the inheritance, and went out. But here we're talking about people who are taking what is not belong to them by force. So apart from taking what is not belong to them by force, they kill anybody that stands on their way. So the message that we take them out, because there's no way you can enter into any form of arrangement. This set of human beings. Whether we like it or not, what we have going on is a guerrilla warfare. We must be honest with ourselves. It's a guerrilla warfare. What happens in a guerrilla warfare is that, first of all, take out the commanders. When you take out the commanders, the troop is left vacant. Then you begin to decimate the troops. When you finish with the troops, who do you now go for? The people. And that is where we're headed to. It is high time God to be cancelled from the origin. I like what the Minister of Defense said. But it's not just by saying it. We want action. Anybody, any Nigerian who comes out to speak in favor or to support what these guys are doing should be arrested. That should be a starting point. Because what we have now has gone beyond the military. It is dragging the citizens into it. And the only way the citizens can help the military to survive is that anybody, no matter who that person is, that comes on air and begin to support the actions of these terrorists should be arrested and dealt with.
Okay. All right. Thank you, President.
I believe that it is high time Mr. President himself also should look into his cabinet. The Minister of Minister of Defense should be let go. Let us know where the war is. Because the way these guys are acting, their position is top notch. I just don't think they're attack anymore.
Do you think that the problem of capacity, when you talk about, having to look into, his cabinet, do you think that the problem is that of lack of capacity or lack of institutionality?
For me, it is lack of the will to do the right thing. If you heard what that 16-year-old boy was saying, where do you think these guys are getting their intel from? Are they spirits? They are not spirits. There must be somebody who is behind the scene perpetrating this thing.
Okay, now there's a lot to talk about in the delivery issue. Let me come to you. Let's begin to interrogate the reason, the reason they trade for all of this. Why? Because we make some clarification between terrorism and insurgency. When you say that these people are insurgents, apparently the technical definition is that they want to run out the government and take over government. But they might apply the tactic or the tool of terrorism, which is to disorganize the government, hit some targets, critical national infrastructure, and all of that. In all of this, do you think that the people want to, it might get, because I'm asking this question because the prince said, well, we are immersed in a guerrilla warfare. Do you think that it will get to the point that their target might be, well, to get them to run out the presidency and take over? Is that what we are dealing with? Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. That's what we are dealing with. But there were some weeks in Abuja before now. The UN jury and so many people that you remember. Okay. That was seat of power. You also remember that during Buhari's administration, people, what do you call it now, Brigade of Guard, that went to the law school when Abuja Law School was being threatened. You remember that some of them lost their lives when they were coming back. You also remember that people during Buhari's time, his convoy, pylon convoy, was attacked in Katsina State, and some Nigerian army lost their lives. So if these people can be this brazenly close to the seat of power, what will stop them from running the seat of power and taking over? Is it not what happened in Afghanistan? Is what happened in Afghanistan after the US Army left? Within 1 week, they overran the country and the Taliban people pick up. So what are we talking about? Taliban, Boko Haram, Iswa, they are brothers and sisters. Their aim is that they want to take over the government. So, but Prince said something that came to that I know too well that if we must have to fight this, we have to look. We are talking about yourself. Okay. Yes, government, and he made sure that the government must be able to stand its ground. Very correct. But Mr. Kuru, you know, the biggest of all is that these people hit targets precisely and get what they are looking for. Precision and accuracy. Accuracy, 100%. Do you know how that happens? Because they have goals. Listen, they said when the leader General Brian was killed, just like a week ago, they said he came around 12:38. And they said they came from different dimensions at the same time. These ones cannot just be planned by this ragtag like that 15 years old boy we saw. There are people who plan this thing for them. There are people who are within the armed forces that give them this. This is the number of personnel we have. This is the strength of our arms and ammunition. And these are the location. This is the time with our gas we lose. Our gas are like loose, kind of. We saw this in 1987, 1987, old United States, when Adeni was terrorizing the old United States. And he's gone. Adeni was not experienced. Adeni was not too powerful. The only success Adeni was recording was just because Adeni had an insider who happened to be DSA Georgia. Georgia was super in terms of operation. So when Adeni plans operation, Georgia says, don't go to that direction. Go this direction. I will not send my point in your direction. He goes to bank, terrorize bank, hit his target, come back successfully. Great, seriously claiming he was doing this the whole of Bendel State 10. He got to the Supreme Military Council, Armed Forces Ruling Council, here at IBB, and started asking the IBB, where is Adeni? What now happened? IBB said, DIG of Bendel, you are from Bendel State, go and arrest your brother. Omebe got there, and Omebe planned because God has saved them. Kasne Akakosu, who was the commissioner of police in Bendel State, and was shot in a very popular place, very good. Until DIG signed the Paris was brought to go and arrest him in this station. What happened? He got to call Bengals and said, this is like that. And that sent him. Until the local respond that this is their own files. What now happened? Now I discovered that the Igbo who was actually linking all the information to an
It's actually the man
He's the one that was sitting at the head of the operation. But yeah, when Jokia was arrested, and even had paid blood, his movement was received from the police. Not until the Nigerian armed forces to stop this idea of, we have been, they are our brothers, so we have integrated them, we have integrated them. This war will not stop. All right. This so-called they have integrated and integrated are still the one that are looking at this thing to these guys in the creek.
Quite an analogy, Mr. Elvis. I must say, and I appreciate you idea.
Thank you.
Now, let's quickly run through minutes when we have Mr. Frank Hills join us. Good morning to you, Mr. Frank Hills, and thanks for being part of this program. I need for you to unmute your device so that we can have your audio free. Hello, Frank, can you hear me? Hello, Frank, can you hear me? All right, well, let's get that fixed. I'll go back to it. In the meantime, let's still remain in this again. Now, wait. You talked about cutting off the source of this. On Saturday, over the weekend, we had the government for statements of those. Have you seen that list?
I've seen the list, and it's a very shameful list. Because you're releasing a list of people we don't know, no pictures, and nothing. It's like, you're just like saying, let us satisfy this need. Questions have been asked. People are agitated. So let us give them names. Why is it that the government said they have tried 300 and something, convicted 300 and something? Who are they? Where are the pictures? Don't you and I have a right to know who they are? When they arrest people and they call them ESL and IPOP, they put their pictures. They put their pictures for everybody to know who they are. So why are we covering the picture? Why are we covering the faces of these so-called Boko Haram insurgents? I want to know who they are. So that if I see someone that looks like that, I'll run for my life.
No, so you don't believe that those names are real or that?
Who are they to start with?
So who were you? What kind of names were you expecting to see on that list?
I was expecting to see the names of real Nigerians. Real sponsors.
Do you know them?
Real sponsors. Over time, fingers have been pointed at some. And the government has told my God.
Are you thinking about sympathizing?
Well, if you're sympathizing with a criminal, then you're a criminal.
But what about financiers? Financiers, not
People who throw you money, big money.
You see, it is the same people who finance and are the same ones who pity them. They're the same ones who show them love. You see, this fight is not a fight for us to sit here and begin to find, okay, it is this. But no, this thing has come beyond that. As a Nigerian, I wake up every day, and the first thing you see is where the village has been ransacked. Women have been kidnapped, people have been killed. You saw a video that was trending 2 days ago. 400 people, women and children. You think it is funny? We sit here, we say, oh, it is the white, it is the north, it is no longer the issue of the north. It is not an issue of the Nigerian people. Because like play, this thing will move from the north to the east to the west. Kwara State is not safe. Ondo State is not safe. You know what happened in the State. And we think it's a child's, it is no longer a child's play.
I do appreciate your passion, please. Honestly, Nigeria is a very scary place. Well, I understand you know it's very established connection with Frank. Frank, can you hear me now? Good morning and thank you.
I can hear you very well.
Oh, beautiful. Good to have you join us. Now, I understand that you have.
Unfortunately, I don't have the capacity to from the headquarters there, yes.
Can you come again? Hello, Frank, what did you say?
I'm at the mercy of those operating system over there.
Oh, anyway, it's about tech. It's all about tech. Nobody's trying to do anything. It's all about tech. But I do appreciate your presence. Now, let's quickly run into it. How do you react to the fact that in the past 10 days, we have 6 senior officers? I'm talking about commission officers, senior ones, rank of colonel, brigadier, and all of that, killed by terrorists in Nigeria. More like the northeast and the northwest have become theaters of war. Not talking about the rank and file in their numbers, 12, 22, the other time, and all of that. How do you react to this situation? Are we in a full-blown war situation? Honestly, let's have their broad reaction to this development.
My reaction is not different from what I've affirmed the operator. They say the way you lay your bed, so you lie on it. Nigeria as a country, unfortunately, is an unserious nation state. And what has happened in the past 10 days is an indicator of worse things that lie ahead. I don't know why it's coming as a surprise. You don't need any peculiar training. You don't need to be an expert in matters of security. To go across different parts of this country and just know that there is no modicum of preparedness that is normally required in a functional nation state for any sort of people's or security. I have said it before on this, that as we are having discussions, that these bandits or terrorists or whatever name they are called, they can choose to strike in 100 locations at the same time. And the Nigerian state will appear handicapped. Rather, what we have is a government that comes to give assurances on and on that seem not to have any impact. Where we now have a commander-in-chief that seems to be an expert in component messages to the people being killed on and on. Now, what makes this more painful like just mentioned concerning the one that's happened in the past 10 days, is that these bandits are not going to attack civilians. They are not just going to attack communities. They are going to run down brigade commands in military. A brigade command is about the foremost unit that stands for in front in terms of fighting against, as in onslaughts from invading nations or whatever it is that pertains to what infringes upon the sovereignty of the nation state. If bandits can peacefully, I use that term with emphasis, overrun a whole brigade command of a nation state, of the most populous black nation in the world. They will operate for 2-3 hours successfully, run down the brigade command, repeat the same feat in a matter of days, on and on. And you think we have a nation? This is my thing. My thing is that I ask myself, if I were a soldier, will I shoot a bullet for this country? Then Nigeria does not display the requisite discipline that is required for nationhood. Unfortunately, it has permitted the military, just like it has affected every sphere of our existence as a country. Now, you don't need to be a military expert to know basics like force security, operational security. I was just wondering, where was that relegated to in the strategic book of Nigerian military? Because I was in primary school when I started reading military magazines. There was no internet. I had some uncles that used to send me magazines from the US and from Europe. And from that time, you get conversation with some basics in military operations. Way back 80s or even earlier. And right now, in the 21st century, you have the military of the largest black nation of the world sending troops to harm's way, no strategy in force security, no enforcement of operational security. Bandits could operate for 3 hours successfully, kill generals, and there's no response. God, how do you explain it? See, it is painful that our soldiers are being sent to such shameful deaths in the hands of ragtag and the bandits. It pains me so much because I believe very strongly that our people can do better. But because there is lack of accountability, there is impunity in the chain of command. And the president gives the truth for them to say that.
May I just cut you in here briefly? Do you think it's an issue of accountability or complicity? Because here in the studio, they're talking about the fact that there is intelligence breakdown, there are moves in the military. But don't you think that that's a big hindrance? Because, I mean, for instance, Borno has been a stronghold for Boko Haram and all this insurgency for over 10 years. How is it possible that they are still losing a whole battalion, they are still losing troops? Is it that the military cannot use maybe drones or technology? Is it that they are incapacitated? Is it that the insurgents are like years ahead? What exactly is the issue? Because we can keep talking about all of this, provide solutions, but if the major issue that is confronting us, which is moves, complicity from within, how do we move forward? How do we move forward from here?
See, on the issue of moves and complicity, that is secondary to the issue of accountability and impunity. A gun has been jumped already. In a military, not just military, in any system where there's impunity, where there's unaccountability, obviously there's lack of discipline. That is what gives room for publicity to thrive. That is what gives room for most to play their card very successfully. That is the truth. So the issue of most and publicity is even not just secondary, it's a tertiary issue. The core issue is the fact that the military, just like the nation state at large, has lost her bearing in terms of the requisite discipline that makes for survivability, that makes for a functional system. That is the truth.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I am telling you now that for the past 1 year and some months or about 2 years, is it not in the news that these bandits now use drones to do survey? In fact, they have more information about our military than military has about them. My point is that Nigeria is like a disgrace to the Committee of Nations. When do you hear that?
All right, then.
It's not like, I thought it was disgrace to the Committee of Nations.
Okay. I think at some point we had President Trump say that Nigeria is a disgrace nation and we started battling here whether we are disgraced or not. I do appreciate your take on this matter, and I would like for you to stay with us because we come back to you in the course of the show so that we can get your concluding thought on this. In the meantime, let's quickly run to Anambra State, contact preside, where we have been joined by Dr. Dennis Ekebuse. He's in the capacity of for public affairs analyst. Good morning, Dr. Ekebuse, and thanks for joining us on the this. Can you hear me, sir? I need for you to unmute your device so that I can get you on the screen. Can you hear me? Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I can hear you loud and clear. Thanks for joining us, sir. Now, I know you have followed this conversation. Now, the guy from Benin City, we have been having a discussion here. We are talking about lack of preparedness, and is it lack of preparedness that is really the issue? Or is it lack of equipment? Or is it sabotage and complicity on the part of the Nigerian military? While you answer that, I would like to have your reaction basically on the issue itself. 6 senior officers killed in the past 10 days. And if you are there in the southeast, I would like for you also to tell us the presence of the military in the southeast. How many road points, checkpoints do you still have? If you can give us the number, if you can give us statistics. Are there still roadblocks manned by the military in the southeast? And what is the level of insecurity that warrants keeping those numbers of soldiers in the southeast, where we have, as a matter of fact, theaters of war in the northeast and in the northwest? I'll wait for you. I have like 3 or 4 questions now. I hope you'll be able to put all of them together and let us get some context to everything that you understand. I wish to have some let's first take one. Okay. We have enormous the number of roadblocks in the southeast. It's from Onitsha to Enugu. You have about not less than 15 checkpoints in various either at the express or at the what we call the old road. And if you are traveling from Aba to Oka, I don't think you'll be able to account for the number of police posts or checkpoints. And we question whether the military are with them. They are. And my question is, have they replaced the toll gate? I know why I asked this question. Because you must give something before you pass. Even at the extent that you are giving, change will be given to you. So it's another industrial development for that set of people. Now, the other side. Dr. Kemeze, I'm sorry to put you at this point. I would like for you to tell our players, what is the level of alertness, what is the level of insecurity that warrants keeping those checkpoints in service? How often do we have that? I think it's minimized. It's minimized. As I said earlier, the control of security during the Christmas season has been sustained. But you cannot easily remove the people operating as security agents or maintenance officers because of the lucrativeness of the business. Okay. All right, let's do the service. Let's do the service and have you react to the development in Borno State, where in the past 10 days we have had 6 of our gallant soldiers, come under the knife of them. Under the bullets of terrorists and insurgents. Very funny. There's some of us that were in Sierra Leone or Nigeria during their war, or even the Nigerian Civil War. I don't think it has escalated to this level of destroying our well-trained manpower. Of course, Nigeria, under the leadership of ECOMOG, we were able to quell the insurgency in Sierra Leone and Liberia. And in Nigeria, especially in the north,
is becoming an impossible task. And I think my observation is that we are being reactive instead of being proactive. And you will recall that I once said that the insurgency has taken a dimension of guerrilla warfare, and such guerrilla warfare has been aggravated by the Boko Haram using technology more than our military men. Of course, recently you know that they said even the drones they use will even contain weapons. So either that our military personnel are insufficiently equipped, or they have not adopted to modern military tactics.
Okay, okay. So you think it's an issue of lack of preparedness? So you think it's an issue of lack of preparedness on the part of the Nigerian army or Nigerian military?
Well, yeah, whether it's preparedness or being proactive, not being proactive, I think they are now being reactive, waiting for them to come, and then they will fight instead of attacking them. They ought to have been more militant, more combative than they are now. I think that's the issue. Whether they are prepared or not, when we are young, we are trained as scouts to be always prepared. As a military, as disciplined people, they ought to be prepared. I think part of it also, so there is a sabotage in the system. Information is given out, and by the time you know it, they will be circled, and then it's a very pathetic story.
Very pathetic, very pathetic.
You try and analyze it, it's painful. Very painful.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
We are recruiting radicalized, what do you call it, insurgents into the system. And what do you expect?
All right, then.
Somebody
Thank you very
called
much, Doctor.
our
Dr.
prodigal.
We'll come back to it in person. So we'd like for you to stay with us. Now, let's quickly run to Billy and get Frank Edo's concluding thought on this matter. Frank, as you conclude, I'd like to ask you, they said that men, history repeats itself because men don't learn from history. I mean, like how many years ago, about 10 years ago, we saw all of this, how pressure was put on the government of Goodluck Jonathan, and we understand that, there was spike in insecurity, Chibok girls kidnapping, people were killed here and there. Do you see a replay of 2014, 2015 in this situation? Because all of a sudden you see a spike, into the terrorism, number of killings and all of that, especially going into an election year. Are you able to, is there a link between what happened then and now? How do you see that?
What I see is beyond elections. It's not only a replay of what happened 14 or 20 years against my time. It is an expansion of what has been known for so long a time. So what is happening right now is much more complex. They are more empowered. Not for the sake of preference. The Boko Haram, when they started in the early 2000s, government played politics with it from the time of Obasanjo until they built out a proportion under Jonathan in 2011. And today it has become the hydra-headed monster that the government doesn't seem to have the capacity to deal with. Something must be established as a goal of the of this force. As long as this state and handling such issues, first of all, is an indicator of the fact that the system has failed. Because the bulk of what pertains to security should have been handled primarily if we have a functional policing system. But because we don't have a functional policing system, the Nigerian army that's supposed to be our last line of defense is now the Nigerian police, unfortunately. Like the great this person said just now, the number of checkpoints in the east, military checkpoints, not the police checkpoints. So Nigeria is going further down the bridge. It is unfortunate. But like I said before, things don't change on their own. Two actions taken is what to bring about change. what is government if it is not in charge? Because what this thing is sending a signal across neighbors and nations in the world is that the Nigerian government is not in charge. Because if the government is in charge, you must be in charge of your land space, your sea space, and your airspace.
Okay.
And of late, equally, your cyber space, whose space does Nigerian government control. The discussion in the student made difference from what happened in 2021. I was in Abuja when the incident happened. When bandits came to the federal capital territory, the seat of power, the president resides, and they operated successfully for more than 3 hours. More than 3 hours. They give soldiers a free terrorist and what have you from here in the Buje. More than 3 hours.
All right,
How is it
all right, Frank.
because
Thank you very much.
government
Frank. Thank you very much, Mr. Frank. Yes, we need to run into our next topic of discussion. I'd like for you to step back as we get into all of that. Let's touch the print briefly. In 2014, we are trying to break some, compare notes 14 and up until this exact point. Now, at that point, we had the National Leaders of the School Party, the current ruling party now, Bola Ahmed. Then, Marcus President, just national leader, said, hey, Mr. Jonathan, if you can't protect the book stops at that. If you can't do this job, please get off. We have that same person sitting now, and it looks like the problem is really compounded. If you see him one-on-one, one time, and you're a football fan, sometimes.
You know that the best players are the people that are on the field.
So, spectators.
When Bola actually was his he felt he was he felt he had the magic one. He felt he had solution. Now he's wearing the shield. First of all, he promised the electricity. He said, I don't give you electricity after 6 months when I come the second time, don't vote for me. But now he's using that time to campaign for votes. Insecurity, he said, oh, well, you're even talking about talk about Shetima. Shetima told us that he will be in charge of security, while Parliament who is in charge of economy. Since this administration came to power, you heard anything from
And the president hand over security,
It doesn't matter, but I think, we like to pretend as if we don't know what's happening. There was a couple of mistakes when the soldiers was on Chibok girls. Up to today, one of them has not come back, so we're told. If he was not able to manage when he was in command, do you think he will make any? I think Astro said while he minister for power as a face of design, go and contest election. Because he knows that he's failed influence as a minister. And he knows that the people of just if I see Bola Ahmed Tinubu today, one I tell him to his side, he doesn't have the capacity to protect the lives.
All right, then thank you very much. Great. Elvis, the concluding comments.
Yeah, I want to remind our Vice President when he was governor, he protested against President who now I had a what has his spoken so far. We're actually bring that humanity as a point boss. I think now it's hard to make that that what he said to be able to easily because remember the problem called the application what happened? Remember, because when you gave that so we are still the same Kudesa.
We are still
The same Kudesa for no harm, different like this. The same Kudesa for they are our brothers who have been let them come informants with their brothers right there.
face. I'm
basis. No, sorry, I think I disagree with you on the issue of
Yeah.
the military has gotten enough money. Problem with the military when it comes to that, it's lack of accountability.
I know only is different from having their people. We have heard that for the past 7 years of getting back, military defense has always been carrying the highest topic, but is it getting to the people that need it? We are told that, even though they are denying it, that Brahman was disappointed by the only APC in that attack. So they are denying it. Then I also read the piece that most of the equipment that they are even using are obsolete. These are equipment that we know brought.
All right, then. Gentlemen. Okay, all right. We do appreciate your time and attention to your presence. Like, we would like to stay with us as we get into our second topic of discussion. Nigerian Air Force bombs market in Northeast population says in the 9th.
Former Minister of Transportation Chibuke Amechi to conduct the party's national convention scheduled to hold tomorrow, April 14, in Abuja. The convention has former Cross River State Governor Neo Okumoke as chairman of the 126-member convention planning committee. Tambuwal was named deputy chairman of the convention committee, while a former Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, and former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, were also named as members.
Welcome back to Stay Watching Video this morning. Nigeria's military is facing mounting criticism after a Nigerian Air Force match strike reportedly hit Boston Market in the northeast, leaving scores of civilians dead and injured. Governor Babagana Zulu of Bonny State confirmed the incident, expressing deep sorrow and pledging government support for victims and their families, while calling for a thorough investigation. The tragedy has reignited debate over the military's role of engagement in counter-insurgency operations, with opposition parties and civil society groups condemning what they describe as a disturbing pattern of accidental bombings that have plagued communities across the region. According to reports, this latest strike adds to at least 19 accidental bombings recorded under the APC-led government, fueling accusations of negligence and poor intelligence gathering. The APC and other opposition voices have demanded accountability, insisting that repeated civilian casualties undermine trust in the armed forces and worsen the humanitarian crisis in the conflict. So, Elvis, let me take you up on this. When I read the full report from Amnesty, they said 4 jets, carried out this operation. How is it possible to precisely target insurgents in an area, a community that has a lot of, innocent people, civilians? How can you, precisely target them with 4 jets? Can we talk about that? And then maybe we had 19 accidental bombings in under 4 years. What exactly is happening?
That Nigeria, the accidental bombing is actually very competitive state because we have seen it, it makes Nigeria Air Force bomb terrorists. And by now, one would have expected that Malaysia would be into such a mistake, but it is really not. They have never said it, and those people that have gone on. They keep telling us that for the trade level that they have discovered that they like look for this intelligence bombs. That would have seen and they need to go no that's why I did not expect it. But they told that that market has been like the center where soldiers instead of this money go back.
They said they actually went there to get legs.
The ladies from the people and also shop go back. It was because of the strategic position of that market that the usage of the market by terrorists and left from those of the past life. Then the issue here now is why the people in that market like government. Then even the 15 years old boy said when they finish fighting at that very soon, they have paid the village, they returned back to this really is actually a hope for this terror. So the issue of rehabilitating and bringing people back to life and say, okay, you are justice and but is it the case some people that were this? But so what happened? This government system, what were people when you that? Because the process is beginning. just once in a while, you don't need to every time. So when they are giving their Air Force, because this war here can be fought by people. The people must have to know that this is part of their own challenge and to bring support. If the government say, don't vote, yeah. And now, these people have actually, the Air Force actually don't know that this market is not supposed to be operational. And they said that they trailing until they saw a crowd thinking that they were dying. Probably, again, I'll come back to the equipment. Is it that there can be additional equipment so that staff to actually do that? There are more women here and children and all that. Because they're using more people are taking. We have to actually see that government takes the responsibility of keeping our regular as expected. Because these nights go lights that they use at all, because the family matter happened at night. The one that led to the death of this mother again. Is it that the insurgent had this equipment that they are to be able to confront them? So the Air Force spokesperson, so that this thing that they never want. Like, so let the investigation come out. But for me, the frequency
The frequency is too much. Now we have mates who say, well, at last count, 56, that was day before yesterday. Okay, yesterday, 56. But now I think the number has increased beyond 100 and all of that. Now, Prince, we had the governor of Borno State, to Professor Biden, said, well, that market was closed 5 years ago. So what were they doing there? Because it looks like the governor is trying to justify the colossal damage, the Nigerian Air Force called the Nigerian.
In 2017, I did I think around 100, I mean, 100 in 2023. The religious gathering was held, like 18 or so killed. And what were the reasons? First, one, bad meeting. Two, the fact that it's assumed that too many people gathered on certain talk about markets. At the moment, it's shut down. Because I don't think anybody will come.
And everybody is
I don't think anybody will come.
nobody.
Why? Because the government shuts down. It's not shut down. But for you to come out as a governor to tell Nigerians that the place that was bombed and has been tagged as a market was shut down by his administration 5 years ago. It's a failure. Honestly speaking, someone should resign as a governor of that state. The simply means it's not the control of the state. There is something he has already proven to Nigerians, whether we like it or not. He has proven to Nigerians the fact that, yes, the rumor will be hearing that some states, some local governments within the state is controlled by insurgents and bandits. It's true. Because I don't see how a governor will shut down a market. And you say you shut it down in the last 5 years, and that market is still operational. That is not an excuse at all. I think the governor is just trying to find a stop landing for miscalculations, for lack of proper intent. If that market is operational, and you claim that that is where bandits come to transact, in 5 years, nobody has been arrested for that market. In 5 years, you do not know who and who comes there to transact. We're not stupid, we're not that foolish.
Nigerians are not stupid. They are not that to this country. That's somebody who's now let's go to the incident where we still have Mr. Frank Edochie. Now, Frank, we hear from the African Democratic Congress, ADC, that the latest is how regarding the dumping of civilian casualties in parts of the state in the marketplace. The part in parts of the called Jimmy. It's the 19th time in the life of this administration. Are you able to confirm that for us? Are you aware? Have you followed up to understand that this is the 19th time? And if it is, what speaks to that? Does it speak to negligence? Or does it speak to lack of equipment like we get to see yes? Well, probably they didn't high level vision equipment and all of that. What is it to you? Let us know. Let us know to all that you understand.
Taking back account of it, but I presume it could be more or less. In fact, it won't be more because they are quite the number of cases in the past. But on the issue of whether it's due to negligence or having equipment, I presume it could involve both factors. Negligence is key, no doubt. And also be a factor. I had my discussions. You see, I wish I could have access to that and the government of the day. The impact of the 2020 spent billions of dollars. You know, this country will waste resources on people. Why expect us to get on attending? I have seen people over the day. Weapons don't fight. People do. If you have a military that have morale, you listen to stuff, you hear on social media. First of all, let me tell you something short. Is it not amazing that Nigerian military people sustain a culture of under-reporting the death of their soldiers and officers? I just wonder, say, no. If the army is not proud of me as a member of that arm, that 20 soldiers will die, and the army will say they are 4 that died, nothing that died. Because they forget that when the social media age, digital age, where information cannot be kept from people. That is the truth. If we have this kind of age in the days of the Roman Empire, the Persian Empire, I'm not sure the empire would have lasted up to 2 years. Because information right now travels at the speed of light.
Frank.
So I just wonder.
Mr. Frank.
Yes.
I heard the former Minister of Communications, Adebayo Shittu, on my show, Political Lens, the other time. And when I asked him about insecurity and all of that, how he felt as a minister in government, under Buhari, when he is, met into cabinet with Nigerian citizens from that. You know what he told me? He said, Nigeria paid money to the United States for equipment and offered to this money. Whose equipment is going to be supplied? Who should take responsibility for that?
Nigerian government. It's like I tell you that I paid money to Toyota company to supply me some vehicles. And I'm putting the blame for my capacity to drive to this for Toyota. When you have Honda, you have Ford, you have hundreds of alternatives. This explicitly, that stuff that guy said, unfortunately, there was nothing against the multiple of this. I said something just that there's something that the government has done in their life. I hope the president will stop with very. I used to make reference to what happened in Mosul in 2014 in Iraq. I still did not get momentum because they had it. I still did not come because they had special support for it. I still get momentum because Iraqi army lost morale. They felt they had nothing to fight for. That was where ISIS lost from. That made them defend the war till today.
But now, Frank, still talking about weaponry. Still talking about weaponry. Yeah, still talking about weaponry. Are you aware, there's this information from the government, from government official sources, that those Tucano jets cannot be used. Why? For reasons. Well, that some of them were not actually fitted for combat. That is one. And two, that there were also restrictions placed on the Nigerian army by the United States of America that supplied the Tucano jets. Are you aware of that?
Now, I'm sorry to say, but we can get the serious pieces that they are looking for. Who bought the equipment? Who sent those agreements? And that excuse is not feasible. I am aware of the restrictions. The restrictions is in areas maybe where there is peace and civilians may be affected. be needed because that's the avenue for monies to be made for individual pockets. When I check the budget, Nigerian budget for security, in fact, the African budget last year is a plate to the budget of the whole of the country during the time of Jonathan is last year as the president of the country. So if you look at the data, the more the increase in the budget for security, the more the increase in the expenses on expenditure for security, the more the increase in insecurity. Is that not a straight business that think of trying? So there's no excuse for it, it's just a problem.
Sure of share. All right, then. Thank you very much.
Something else.
Okay, quickly.
Something else, please, and the government should be aware.
Okay.
The war, from what is happening in the war between the US, Israel, and Iran, as well as Ukraine and Russia, even major powers have come to see that there's a very slim line between having major weapons and small weapons that can act, except prevent to throw a lot of weapons. The Nigerian government should know that these bandits, in no time, we have such peculiar accesses. I hope they wake up before then. Not that we say Nigeria is a fair state, maybe a good story.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Mr. Frank. So let's quickly run to the bunker where we still have Dr. Dennis. Now, Dr. Dennis, Mr. Ayos said something. He said the more money we get into the security system, the more insurgency, the more terrorism we get. Now, how do you explain that? And again, I would like for you to add all of this. Now, we get there's an ongoing debate, between the Nigerian Air Force and the Nigerian. Now, the Air Force is where nobody was killed. The Nigerians have counted at last count, as at yesterday, 56 people. And so, how do you explain the fact that the Nigerian army said initially, well, we were training them, because they had gone to the market to collect loans. And so, when they left, that was when we let up. Unfortunately. So, how easy it is, to track people who had gone to a market to collect loans, and all of a sudden they were leaving, and we were tracking them, and we let up bombs, and Nigerians were killed. How do you? It looks like there's some kind of conflict in those comments. How do you react to that? Those two questions are quickly.
It's absolutely you try to identify or to locate the salt that have already put in the soup. You cannot do it by that. I think it's a sharp analysis of the situation. How do we know that we are training them? Of course, it reminded me during the Civil War, when my mom was born by the Biafra genocide after the church, they said it was a Scottish. So at times it could be Scottish. The reader may not be able to give enough information. And that's what we are dealing with, issues of governance and intelligence gathering. However, if the governor said that the market were closed, of course, you know that the market were closed in Anambra State and people did not. If the market was closed and the people were there, why would the governor take action? So I'm trying to lay a foundation to be able to analyze the issue of collaboration. Is government overwhelmed? Is officers overwhelmed? And that's the question. So you have to answer the question. Issue of connivance, issue of negligence, issue of collaboration. Because it appears from what we are saying, our prodigal brothers. Some conversations we throw in the Nigerian side, we at times we know what we are doing. Because tie it down or tie it that we need to reinvigorate our military practice, our military conversation, so that we're able to be members of the public in position of things. I think that's the issue of intelligence. We also need to look at accountability. Money approved, money released to items possessed,
items. Of course, when you purchase items, you put the item to the store. Where you now picking up. So what happened? This the valid answer or opinion on situation on the ground. Because it's a critical situation. Okay, it's very polarized situation. Thank you very much, Dr. With the polarized situation, thank you very much. The governor has a let's move on to our last topic of discussion this morning, and it's about party politics. Politics is next, in fact, the biggest thing in Nigeria now. It's not our ADC president, because we hear that the ADC has a new venue for Tuesday's National Convention as part at John Sierra. Please do join us right now.
Welcome back to what we're doing this morning. Now, just since we met you full 500 years ago, you got us. We've given everything. You are still taking. It's true. Since we met you full 500 years ago, you got us. We've given everything. You are still taking. It's true. I mean, where would the whole Western world be without peace, without Africa? Our cocoa, our timber, our gold, our diamonds, our platinum, our water, everything you are is us. I am not saying it, it's a fact. And in return for all of this, what have we got? Nothing. Anti-personnel indoctrination against ourselves. If you go and cook your horrible diseases like AIDS, you say it is us. You brought us tuberculosis. We didn't have this big cough until white people came here. In exchange for Africa giving Europe 500 solid years of our people, I mean not Europe, the Western world, of our human beings to work your canes, to dig your gold, to taking gold itself. Damn, I mean you know, fish, peanuts, palm oil, everything. In exchange for that, we have got nothing, nothing, and you know it, nothing. And you look upon, white folks look upon us like monkeys. It is true. It's in your literature. Hey, some of your best thinkers have said this about us. Have you heard of this? All these Germans. Have you heard? Yes, they said Lord Burton, people like that. They said we don't even have the brain of animals. That's what we got from you people. But don't you think that this is over now? Over where? Is it over? Who said that AIDS came from the green monkey?
When you grow up in a colonial system, people who designed that system design in such a way that they will produce a certain kind of people because they give them a certain kind of information, they expose them to a certain kind of information, and they keep certain kind of information away from them. So you grow up with a certain attitude. You are shaped. Your mind, your attitude, your values are shaped. Your world is shaped. And you are deliberately discouraged to appreciate anything about you because you are not supposed to know or to imagine there was anything good in your pre-British experience. So your people in the pre-British
Nigeria were primitive, they were backwards, they didn't know anything, they did not even know anything about God. Now you know about God, you know about Jesus, you're saying the rosary, remember I was saying the rosary. All these things are packaged in such a way that you look at the British and you admire the British.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. There was a nation living in peace and unity. Yeah. They are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise up to its purity. With another people of different culture, a different heritage, bias and oppressive. Oh, I see. A nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna praise us. Rather, you all gonna embrace her. With your flag, with your flag, with your flag, with your flag. Oh, yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home.
I reminisce way back 1967. Death toll on the blood couldn't count them even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops on the ground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why? Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom. They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain? Suka had the first taste of a hero's blood. Abaganazo wave was stronger than flood, but the joke is too strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. So bloody name, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my veins. We died trying to fight the cause and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa. Welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world. See those people of Zion is here.
It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home.